Judges and Kings. The ancient Israelites, led by the prophet Moses, successfully escaped from Egypt and wandered in the wilderness near Mount Sinai for nearly 40 years. During this time, they prepared themselves for battle, accumulated provisions, and finally gained the strength to fight. They broke camp, swore an oath, and set out toward their destination, the promised land of Canaan, flowing with milk and honey, their ancestral inheritance. The Israelites adhered to a principle of marching, overcoming obstacles, and enduring long journeys. At times, they intentionally misled spies and informants by releasing false information. By this point, the generation that had left Egypt had mostly passed away, including the prophet Moses. As he approached the end of his life, Prophet Moses designated his successor, a loyal and capable assistant, a respected leader skilled in both military and civil matters, Joshua the prophet. The era of Judges. Upon assuming leadership, Prophet Joshua faced the challenge of effectively managing a nomadic community that included the elderly, infirm, and families with all their belongings. They continued to march, fight battles, and even bear children along the way. To address these complexities, Prophet Joshua established the system of judges based on tribal leadership. 1. Each of the 12 tribes of Israel had its own leader called a judge, responsible for specific governance. 2. The overall leader of the entire Israelite nation was also referred to as a judge. Their role was to serve as a spiritual leader, coordinating actions across the tribes. 3. During this era of religious and political unity, judges played a role similar to modern-day district administrators, adept in both civil and military affairs. They managed local matters, including rituals and dispute resolution, and led armies during wartime, strategizing and ensuring supplies. According to the Bible, the appointment of judges among the Israelite ancestors was also divinely ordained. Notably, 1. Prophet Joshua was the first national judge. 2. Prophet Samuel served as the last national judge. This period of judges lasted for over 3 centuries, producing a total of 15 judges. They were leaders of the 12 tribes of Israel, playing crucial roles in governance, guidance, and salvation. While their achievements may not have been flawless, they were certainly effective. As recorded in the book of Deuteronomy, Prophet Joshua succeeded Prophet Moses, and led the Israelites to conquer the promised land of Canaan. Under his leadership, the Israelites achieved remarkable victories on the battlefield, reclaiming ancestral territory long held by other nations, the ancient Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. Prophet Joshua successfully brought the Israelite nation back to their ancestral land of Canaan, leaving a lasting impact. In honor of his legacy, many later Israelites named their children Joshua. Interestingly, this name also serves as the origin of the name Jesus, the founder of Christianity. Across different religions, Prophet Joshua holds a revered position and has left a profound mark on both Israelite history and human history. The era of Judges marked a transition in ancient Israelite history. 1. The Israelites shifted from a nomadic lifestyle to settled living. 2. After returning to Canaan, they needed to establish stability and transition from nomadic to agricultural life. 3. The Book of Judges records the stories of these 12 prominent judges. Historically, 1. These judges often ruled over different Hebrew tribes simultaneously. 2. The authors of the Book of Judges combined various local traditions to create a unified, continuous sequence, presenting these judges as rulers of all Israel. 3. Although the era of Judges lasted around 150 years, the Bible extends it to 480 years, bridging the gap from Prophet Joshua to Prophet Samuel. During this time, Israel lacked a centralized authority. with each tribe having its own judge. 1. Early state. The era of judges served as a transitional phase in Israelite history, spanning from Prophet Joshua to Prophet Samuel. While the Israelites gained initial control over Canaan, they couldn't completely displace the remaining Canaanite inhabitants within each tribal territory. The tribes intermingled, influencing one another religiously. 2. Role of judges. Judges were temporary military and civil leaders, seen as individuals chosen by God and endowed with wisdom. Their responsibilities included military leadership and civil arbitration. 3. The tasks of judges. The word judge, in Hebrew, means judge, a civil judge among the people in peacetime. In times of war, judges are the generals who take the lead and lead the troops in battle. 4. The 12 judges. The Book of Judges records the deeds of 12 judges, including the great judge and the lesser judge. The chief judges include Gideon, Deborah, Samson, and others. Their battles spanned different areas and dealt with different enemies. Each judge assumed a leadership role in a specific time, place, and situation to address different challenges. The era of judges marked a crucial transition in Israelite history. Its conclusion signaled the end of tribal governance and the emergence of the united monarchy. Key labels associated with this historical memory include:
Era of Judges characterized by migration, battles and spiritual leadership under Joshua. Era of Monarchs, marked by the establishment of a formal nation, divine messengers, and the reign of Samuel.
The era of monarchs. After successfully returning to the promised land of Canaan, the Israelites desired to establish a formal nation like other legitimate countries. Centralized power was essential for achieving significant goals and garnering public support. The concept of a united kingdom gained momentum, and God chose a young and capable individual, Saul, to be anointed as the first king of Israel. The prophet Samuel publicly declared this momentous event. Reasons for selecting Saul as king, according to the Bible. 1. Appearance and physique. Saul was tall and handsome, which was advantageous in the cultural context. His regal appearance inspired trust and respect. 2. Bravery and military skill. When Samuel first encountered Saul, he was searching for lost donkeys with his servant. Saul demonstrated tenacity and exceptional courage, showcasing qualities essential for ruling a nation. 3. Relationship with God. Samuel anointed Saul based on divine guidance, signifying God's approval of Saul's legitimacy as Israel's king. 4. Leadership abilities. Despite not coming from nobility, Saul's experiences and actions demonstrated administrative competence and military leadership. Saul became the first monarch of the United Kingdom of Israel. His ascension marked: 1. The end of the era of judges. 2. The beginning of the monarchy. Born around 1080 BCE, King Saul belonged to the smallest tribe of Benjamin. According to biblical accounts, he was chosen as king because the tribe of Benjamin had nearly been wiped out during the era of judges. The ancient Israelites continually sought a king to defend against external threats and establish a homeland. Prophet Samuel, acting on behalf of the people, petitioned God, and Saul was selected. Although King Saul faced initial opposition during his reign, he gradually gained public acceptance. Over his 40-year rule, he led the people in battles against the Ammonites and Philistines, achieving remarkable victories. His reign laid a solid foundation for the unified Israelite nation, setting the stage for the subsequent centuries of the United Kingdom. King Saul, an ordinary man, experienced both glory and downfall, loyalty and betrayal, a fleeting star leaving an eternal mark in history. King Saul, born into an ordinary family, lacked any notable lineage or special background, yet fate seemed to have destined him for an extraordinary path. In that era, Israel lived under the constant threat of powerful enemies, particularly the Philistines. Against this backdrop, Saul's destiny became intricately tied to that of the nation. King Saul was not inherently power-hungry. Even after being anointed, he remained perplexed about his future role. Nevertheless, the wheel of fate had turned, thrusting him into the spotlight. In a battle against the Philistines, King Saul displayed remarkable courage, successfully repelling the enemy and securing a precious victory for Israel. As victories piled up, King Saul's reputation soared. He was hailed as a national hero. However, power often blinds people, causing them to overlook inner virtues. King Saul was no exception. He gradually became consumed by the vortex of power, losing touch with his true self. David, a shepherd boy, occasionally revealed his brilliance on the battlefield. In his first combat, armed only with a small slingshot, he slew the Philistine giant Goliath, an awe-inspiring feat. King Saul even promised his daughter's hand in marriage to David. But David, ambitious and young, posed a challenge to King Saul's throne. As David's popularity grew, King Saul felt increasingly desperate. Former friends and comrades began siding with David. Over time, King Saul lost himself. His power inflated his ego, leading him to defy God's will, act independently, and even disregard the prophet Samuel's instructions. God expressed displeasure with Saul's actions, and sent prophet Samuel to reprimand him. However, at this critical juncture, King Saul could no longer hear dissenting voices. His inflated ego drove him to reckless decisions, and suspicion crept in, leading him to betray those who trusted him. In his rivalry with David, King Saul descended into madness and tyranny. Eventually, fate intervened unexpectedly. During a pursuit of David, King Saul stumbled into a trap set by David, narrowly escaping death at the hands of the Philistines. This defeat forced King Saul to confront his weaknesses and seek inner balance. King Saul faced several challenges during his reign. Most notably, he deviated from God's commands at crucial moments. The infamous incident occurred during a battle with the Amalekites when King Saul spared some of the spoils against God's explicit instructions, a betrayal in God's eyes. Although King Saul recognized his mistakes, it was too late. His throne teetered on the brink. His kingdom plunged into internal strife and turmoil. In a final, desperate battle against the Philistines, King Saul and his son Jonathan were mortally wounded. To avoid capture and humiliation, they chose to take their own lives. King Saul's life was a blend of glory and struggle. An ordinary man thrust into the center of the nation's destiny, he bore unimaginable pressures. His life showcased extraordinary courage and wisdom, but also the tragic consequences of unchecked power. King Saul's story serves as a cautionary tale. Repentance and faith remain life's most critical themes. Even in life's final moments, sincere repentance can lead to forgiveness and redemption. Despite King Saul's repeated transgressions during his reign, he never genuinely repented. His occasional remorse fell short of true contrition. It was temporary and incomplete. Consequently, he often repeated his mistakes. Regardless, King Saul remains the founding king of the United Kingdom of Israel and the progenitor of the three kings. His ultimate sacrifice, sealed in blood, cleansed his tarnished legacy. Judges and kings. The transition from judges to kings marked a significant shift in ancient Israelite history. Guided by God's will, the Israelites moved from loose tribal alliances to centralized authority. Secularly, it represented a transformation from nomadic to agrarian civilization. In poetic contrast,
Judges ruled households, nomadic hunters following watercourses. The cradle of Israel, kings governed nations, tilled fields, lived contentedly. The splendor of Israel,